All right, what's up? What's up? What's up, guys? This is DB talking now. DB talking birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. It is draft week. It is draft week. We got the draft in 2 days. Today is Tuesday. Draft starts on Thursday. We are going to be streaming it all day on the first round. We are going to be streaming the first round all day on Thursday night. So really excited about that. Got a lot of rumors swirling, guys. Got a lot of rumors swirling. I personally believe there's a big chance that the Eagles do trade up. There's been rumors swirling that the Eagles are going to trade up for Jalen Carter. We've heard earlier maybe like a week or two ago, they were going to trade up to 3 with the Arizona Cardinals. That kind of quieted down. Then it came back over the last couple of days. Who are they going to trade up to Arizona for? I think I believe if they're able to get up to 3 and trade up with the Arizona Cardinals, it is going to be for a Will Anderson. It is going to be for either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. But over the last couple of days, we've heard that the Philadelphia Eagles are also interested in trading up to either 6, 7, or 8. And me personally, I believe that if that is the case, if they get to 6, 7, or 8, then it could be for BIJAN Robinson. Not Jalen Carter, BIJAN Robinson. I think that the only way that they're going to get Jalen Carter is at 3. So we will see. Toxic Falcons, what's up, my man? Welcome to the chat today, my dude. Who do you want the Atlanta Falcons to draft? Let's hear it. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this draft, guys. I think the crazy thing is that nobody really knows what's going to happen, how it's going to go down. I think, obviously the main Nolan Smith, Toxic Falcon says he thinks that the Falcons are going to take Nolan Smith. All right, that wouldn't be a bad pick. It'd be another defensive pickup. And you can. I think if you get the most out of his ceiling, then he can be a really versatile chess piece for any defense that he goes to. Personally, but I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this draft. I think you're not really sure what's going to happen. Obviously, you got the Panthers at pick 1. I think it should be a home run that they're going to draft Bryce Brown, right? Or Bryce Brown. You guys know what I mean. King, what's up, my man? Welcome to the chat. Happy draft week, you guys. Happy draft week. King said, BIJAN said he would like to play with Jalen Hurts. Yeah, we're going to get into that. We have a lot to talk about on this stream here because there's been a lot going on over the last few days. And there's been a lot going on leading up into the draft. And what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles? Is Derrick Henry going to be a Philadelphia Eagle? Is he not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle? Is that a smokescreen so they can continue on with their plan of drafting BIJAN Robinson? Me personally, I think it's a plan to draft BIJAN Robinson. So that's what I think. Tox Falcon says he thinks that the Falcons could also trade back. Yeah, I think Nolan Smith at 8. You guys are at pick 8, right? I think Nolan Smith at pick 8 is going to be a little bit too high, personally. But I do think I do like the pick. I think trading back out of 8 wouldn't be a bad idea. But Eagles fans obviously are afraid that the Falcons could draft BIJAN Robinson. But you haven't really heard a lot of Falcons BIJAN Robinson talk, especially not as much as you have with the Philadelphia Eagles, and that could give you reason to think that the whole BIJAN Robinson thing is a smokescreen. I don't really think it's a smokescreen. He was one of the first ones to come in for an unofficial visit, pre-draft visit. And everything went really well. He's been playing his cards right. Howie Roseman said that he wants a unique player. BIJAN Robinson's a unique player. I don't care what anybody says about him not being a unique player or him not equating to McCaffrey. This guy equates to Christian McCaffrey. we have to remember the Philadelphia Eagles almost drafted Christian McCaffrey in 2017 with pick 14. They just didn't know that the Panthers were going to take him at 8. King says, and then I'm trading the 30th pick to the Titans and 4th for Derrick Henry if BIJAN is taken. Yeah, so that's the other thing too, is I believe that Derrick Henry, the Derrick Henry talk could not only be a smokescreen, but it could also be a plan B. So I do believe that if they can't trade up to 6, 7, or 8, if they can't trade up to 3 to get Jalen Carter, I think that they're going to try and trade to 6, 7, or 8 to take BIJAN Robinson. If they can't, I think that it's possible they could take JSN at 10. I think it's a little strange that they're doing a lot of homework on him like this late on JSN. Does that have anything to do with Zay Flowers opting out of the draft and returning to school for another year? Maybe the Eagles had plans to draft Zay Flowers. Who knows? But I also do think that if they were to take, let's say, if they were to stay at 10, take JSN, and then take a defensive lineman at pick 30 or an offensive lineman. I have no problems with taking an offensive lineman at pick 30 if you take it at pick 30. I don't want to hear about Skrinoski. I personally think he's like the offensive tackles in this draft class, the Paris Johnsons, the Peter Skrinoskis, however the fuck you say his name. Sounds Russian. Just kidding. They're highly overrated. They're highly overrated. Especially because the Eagles need a guy who can play guard and then can translate to tackle. Skrinoski cannot translate to tackle. The tackle class is going to be better next year. You want a guy who's a better guard prospect. You can take Osiris Torrance at pick 30 if he's there, and I think he'll be there. Or you can take a center prospect, the top center prospect in the draft. I forgot his name. His name's not coming to me, but he could be there at pick 30. With that 30th pick, you can kind of do anything, and nobody's going to really blame you for it. Toxic Falcon says people forget our rookie running back just had a 1,000-yard season. Who's your rookie running back again? Remind me. Leave it in the chat. Guys, also remember to like and hit the notifications button. King. Or I'll trade for Budda Baker. So see, that was one of those things that Tyler Algier. Toxic Falcon says Tyler Algier. Okay. I haven't looked at a lot of tape of Tyler Algier or his highlights from his rookie season. I'll be honest. I mean, I don't look at the Falcons a lot, but for you, I will for sure. King says, or I'll trade for Budda Baker. See, that's another trade rumor that's swirling, obviously. And that's another thing that I put up is could the Eagles follow a similar plan that they executed last offseason during the draft, which is get your guy at pick 10 if it's BIJAN Robinson, and then with pick 30 you trade for Budda Baker, and then also acquire maybe a 4th round pick in return. I mean, I don't see why that would be. I think Howie would do that. I think I think you're getting 2 starting caliber players, getting a blue chip player in BIJAN Robinson. You're getting a safety who can bring tons of versatility to your secondary. I know people are saying that he's requesting a lot of money. He apparently hasn't said so much so that way. So, who really knows? But I think he wants to play for Shane Steichen. I think that's what I remember Budda Baker saying. And then you can also pick up a 4th round pick. But hey, we're just playing with trade scenarios at this point. But You never know. You never know. I think something big is going to come. I think something big is going to come. I don't think it's going to be an offensive lineman at 10. I think they're either going to trade up or they're going to take best player available at 10, which is BIJAN Robinson or Jaxson Smith and Njigba. Njigba. I can't. I think that's how you say it. I don't remember. And I think that's why we saw them. I think that's the thing is if they can't trade up, I think that's their plan. If they can't trade up, they're going to take best player available at 10. And I think that's why we're seeing this late push of homework into JSN. That's what I think. That's what I think. Tox Falcon says he's like a Michael Turner if you remember him from the Falcons. I do remember Michael Turner. I do remember Michael Turner. Thought it was dangerous. Michael Turner was initially a Charger, wasn't he? Wasn't it LT and Michael Turner for a bit? I think it was I think those two were in the same backfield in San Diego when the Chargers were in San Diego. Isn't that right? Comment in the chat if that's right. If I'm wrong, sorry. But yeah, guys, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this draft. Me personally, you know, I've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks. I want BIJAN. I really do. There was a couple days here and there where I doubted his receiving ability, but after looking more into, you know, the tape and you know, and some other and like kind of dissected game by game, I saw that they do actually split him out wide at times, and he can run a route tree. So he is a good receiver. You know, is he at McCaffrey's level at receiving? I don't probably not. Does it mean he can't get there? Is he a better runner than McCaffrey? I think so. King says, I also like Will McDonald, defensive end. I'd take him in the second round if he's there. Yeah, maybe. I could see. I would like Will McDonald. Will McDonald is a good prospect. Second round. Yeah. I mean, you can address the defensive line in the second round. I personally, there's a few players that I like for that second pick. And I guess I say 30. I think about the 30th pick as the second pick because it is the second pick that we have. It is kind of a second round pick because it is, you know, when you get to 30, 31, 32, you're kind of flirting with the second round at that point. So I mean, like, I would like us to go, if we're going to go offensive lineman, Osiris Torrance, defensive lineman Brian Breesy, if he's not gone out of Clemson, Will McDonald, you know, I wouldn't mind. You know, there's a lot of players that I wouldn't mind. Tox Falcon says I couldn't remember if he did. I think he did. I think Michael Turner and LaDainian Tomlinson played together on the Chargers. I believe that is a fact. I think it was only for maybe a couple seasons. King says anything to replace Derrick Barnett. Well, that's the thing, is we're not replacing Derrick Barnett. We're not replacing Derrick Barnett. We've got Derrick Barnett on for one more year, and we'll see what happens. You know, I think the best bet for the Philadelphia Eagles, when it comes to Derrick Barnett, is that he has a 6 to 7 sack season. You know, he finally has a good season, and a 6 to 7 sack season coming back from injuries, and we also want a clean season from Derrick Barnett. That's the other thing too. Obviously, you know, his roughing the passer calls and things of that nature. Like, we want that taken care of as well. So, like, if Derek Barnett can come back and have a relatively like clean season regarding penalties and also maybe get 5 to 7 sacks, then we can possibly resign him for 3 years to a cheaper deal than he would normally garner on the open market. And would he take a hometown discount or maybe a 2 year deal? Who knows? I would totally be down to bring back Derek Barnett if he had a if he had a season, you know, where he did well. You know, my biggest thing is like I listen to, over the last few days I've been listening to a lot of like the Philadelphia sports media journalists like come out with their mock drafts and come out with their reasons for why we wouldn't take BIJAN, and it's just like it's blasphemous to me, honestly. Like it's blasphemous to me because like they're doing everything that they possibly can to avoid BIJAN Robinson. And it sounds like that they just haven't done their homework on BIJAN Robinson. BIJAN Robinson is not just a running back. He is a blue chip talent. He is a guy that can catch it out of the backfield. He's a guy that you can line up in the slot. He's a guy that you can line up wide. You can do different things and create different packages with a running back like BIJAN Robinson. And not only that, he gives you like him lined up next to Jalen Hurts in the backfield is absolutely dangerous. Is absolutely dangerous. Um, and I think that Jaxson Smith, the Njigba, is also in that category. I also think he's also in that category where he can bring he can be an ultimate weapon. They both can be ultimate weapons. And I think that's what the Eagles are looking to add. They're looking to add a weapon. Um, Not just a unique player, but they're looking to add a weapon. A weapon that they can have for multiple years down the line. An offensive lineman in this draft is just not at the top of this draft is just not it. And that's what they keep saying. King says it's funny how the Cowboys want BIJAN Robinson to replace Zeke. I mean, I haven't really necessarily heard that. I've heard some reports, but like I don't think he's even visited. Has he visited the Dallas Cowboys? I don't think BIJAN Robinson has visited. He's only visited 2 teams, and that's the Eagles and the Buccaneers. And you think if the Cowboys were interested, well, if BIJAN Robinson is there, I think the Cowboys will take him because the Cowboys know blue chip talent when they see it. So I think if he's there, I just don't think that they have any uh sense that he's gonna be there for them. I think the Cowboys are gonna try and grab one of these, dynamic tight ends, whether it's Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer. Those are the 2 guys that are possibly gonna go in the first round. Um, but we'll see. We will see. King says, nope, just the Eagles and the Bucks. Yep. Yep, just the Eagles and the Bucks. Just the Eagles and the Bucks. Um yeah, guys, so like I was paying attention to Birds 365 or Inside the Birds with Adam Kaplan. Um and I think they had Andrew DeCecco on there and Jeff Mosher. Yeah, Adam Kaplan and Jeff Mosher, and they had Andrew DeCecco on there, and like they did their mock draft of the first round. And like me personally, I'll just come out and say it. I'll just come out and say it. I chimed in their comments and like got a reply. I got a reply, and I said and they drafted Skrnowski to the Eagles, and I'm just like that would be the worst fucking pick. It would be the worst fucking pick at 10. And there were a couple weeks where I was interested in Skrnowski, but then I started to do a little bit more research. He's only got 33-inch arms. You know what I mean? And or 33-inch wingspan or whatever it is. and or I think it's 33-inch arms. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's two. And so like the Eagles are looking for a guy. I know I've already said this in the stream already, but like the Eagles are going to be looking for a guy who can be versatile. And this guy is, the more we do research into him, he's not he's not versatile. You can't play him at right tackle. He's not going to be able to take over for Lane Johnson. He's just not. Um, and if you bring him, if you and like he also can't play center. So it's like, do you want him coming in and playing right guard, or do you want Cam Jurgens? And so like if you're gonna have, and let's say Cam Jurgens like stuns us at right guard and stays at right guard because he does phenomenal, like Landon Dickerson. If everybody remembers correctly, like Landon Dickerson was supposed to take over for Jason Kelsey, not Cam Jurgens. But Landon Dickerson was so strong and so dominant next to Jordan Mailata that they kept him there. Howie pretty much said it is going to be Cam Jurgens at starting right guard this season. He actually did say like you got he did make a comment about the starting offensive line, and he's like, when you got, Jordan Mailata and you got Landon Dickerson and you got Kels and you got Jurgens and you got Lane, there's, it's great to have all those guys, yada 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 yada. I don't remember what the comment was, but like just that comment alone means that there's an intention for Jurgens to start at right guard, and there shouldn't be an immediate need to draft the guy at pick 10 to replace him. So like the idea that like these media insiders from Birds 365 or Inside the Birds think that it's going to be an offensive lineman at pick 10 is just mind blowing. And then their excuse, obviously, and I know I'm ranting, I'm sorry, um, is that, well, they're going to draft for the future and they just don't take running backs. Well, they could also take JSN. JSN would be a better pick. JSN would be a better pick. Joey Porter Jr. would be a better pick. It's too high for Joey Porter Jr., but Joey Porter Jr. would be a better pick than an offensive lineman at that point in time, in my opinion. So, but guys, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm fired up. I think it's really intriguing. So the Panthers are probably gonna take Bryce Young. I said Bryce Brown earlier. I have no idea why. Probably because I'm an Eagles fan and Bryce Brown was a good replacement back that we had just for a little bit out of Pitt. And then the Texans at 2, right? So like there's been rumors that the Texans might not draft the quarterback at pick 2. What are your guys' thoughts on that? And do you guys think that the Texans actually do go defensive player at pick 2? And is it Will Anderson? Is it Jalen Carter? What are you guys feeling? I think from everything that I'm hearing lately, is that it is going to be a defensive player. And so I am going to mock, and you want to win in the trenches, right? You want to win in the trenches. If you take a defensive player, I think DeMeco Ryans is now the head coach in Houston. King says, I told you they're going for Will Anderson. They're not going to take Bryce Young. Who? The Panthers? I wouldn't rule out what I was gonna say is I wouldn't rule out Jalen Carter to the Texans. I wouldn't rule out Jalen Carter to the Texans. Texans, right? Yeah, I wouldn't rule out. What if they take Jalen Carter instead? Because when you're building, right, you wanna build from the inside out, and you wanna build from the trenches. As we know, we're, you know, uh, that's what successful ball clubs do. They start with the offensive line, they start with the defensive line. Um, I think when we drafted Fletcher Cox, it helped us rebuild our defensive line, um, in my opinion. And then we were able to work our way out from there. And I think, what if the Texans shock everybody and go Jalen Carter instead of Will Anderson? There's also been some rumors and reports lately that I've seen, according to Bleacher Report, that some GMs and defensive line coaches are not as high on Will Anderson as some are led to believe. So, um, wouldn't that be interesting? Here's my thing though. And I did a mock draft the other night, and with that notion, I had I think I had the Texans taking Jalen Carter, and then the Cardinals taking Tyree Wilson. Um, I actually don't remember. I don't remember what I had, but I remember Will Anderson falling to 5 to the Seattle Seahawks. That I do remember. King Miro says, or they take offensive linemen to protect Davis Mills. They do like Davis Mills. And so that's the thing too. The Texans can go. See, that's what I'm talking about, though. Is like that's why it's going to be interesting. That's why it's going to be a good draft. I think that's why it's going to be exciting within the top 10 picks. We're getting close now. We're starting to hear a bunch of different things, and I think the Texans could go any which way. They could go a quarterback here. They could go C.J. Stroud here. They could go, they could go defensive line. They could go defensive line, and they could go Jalen Carter, or they could go Will Anderson, or some defensive line coaches and some scouts, believe that Tyree Wilson is the guy over Will Anderson, not the other way around. So this is what I chose. I had Will Levis. I had in my recent mock. I wish I still had it. Pulled up. I don't. Um, in my recent mock, I had Will Levis falling. Uh, pretty. I think outside of the top 10. Actually, I had Will Levis falling outside of the top 10. I had the. I had the Colts taking Anthony Richardson. And why Anthony Richardson, you may ask? Well, Shane Steichen, um, Shane Steichen just saw what he could do with a mobile quarterback. Anthony Richardson is a guy who does have passing ability and does also have the ability to create with his legs, as we, similar to Jalen Hurts. So does Shane Steichen want to go out and get a guy like that? Is my question. But um, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Derrick Henry to the Eagles, or um, BIJAN Robinson? Who would you rather? Who would you rather? Uh, let's play. Who would you rather? Who would you rather? BIJAN Robinson or Derrick Henry? If you had to choose, if you had to choose, Would you rather the Eagles trade for Derrick Henry? And also, let's keep this in mind. Let's keep this in mind. If they trade for Derrick Henry and they draft Jaxson Smith Njigba, I'll figure out how to say that and make sure that because I think there's a strong possibility that we're going to take him on draft night. So I'm going to make sure I get his name correct. Or Bryce Young, or not Bryce Young, BIJAN Robinson. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And also, guys, while you're answering that question in the comments, don't forget that Jeffrey Simmons was mentioned on the trade block, a few weeks ago for the Titans, and we could circle back around. We could circle back around to one of these players. It might not just be Derrick Henry. It could be Jeffrey Simmons. And I'm telling you, I would not mind trading pick 30 for Jeffrey Simmons. King says Derrick Henry for he can throw Trayvon Diggs. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, he can throw secondary, he can throw defensive backs with one arm. That is what we have to look forward to. Or BIJAN Robinson, who we'll have for at least 5 years, and we'll also give you more of me personally. I think I'm not saying that I wouldn't have. I'm not saying that I wouldn't want Derrick Henry. Not saying that whatsoever. I thought it was funny. I was watching Dan Silio's show the other day, and he kind of went off about Philadelphia media sports writers, kind of how I just did, and how they're saying like Derrick Henry wouldn't fit, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course, Derrick Henry would fit. Derrick Henry would fit on whichever team that you want. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't want Derrick Henry. I'm just thinking for the long term, and like if like what he could do, could we use him more as a which guy could we use more as a chess piece? And I think that we could do that with BIJAN. So in that sense, I think he fits a little bit more what we want to do or what we're looking for anyway. It's not what we want to do, but it's what we're looking for. But yes, having Derrick Henry and Jalen Hurts next to each other too, as well, would also be extremely lethal. King says, man, if that happens, I'm going to go off. I'm ready for plan B. Yeah, dude. I mean, it is crazy. It is crazy that the Derrick Henry shit is starting to resurface. It is starting to resurface. But I would like to remind everyone that, we did experience this, speaking of, one of our off-season signings, Marcus Mariota, obviously, we did hear about this, these rumors leading up to the draft and then them not falling through. But then again, Chip Kelly was the guy in charge at that point in time, and he was going to trade the entire house for Marcus Mariota, but decided not to. So this time it's different. It's Howie Roseman, and it's as Philly 500 likes to say, it's Howie Vision. Howie. He plays by his rules. He plays by his rules. King says, not only that, A.J. Brown recruited Derrick Henry on Twitter saying that 22 isn't taken. That is true. He did say that. So there's some recruiting going on. But then again, I haven't heard anything back in return from Derrick Henry. And maybe that's indicative. Derrick Henry is just, staying mum. He's just staying mum so that because he knows that on the down low something's going to happen. And obviously we do know the host of I'm not going to even try and pronounce his names, but the the host of the Ninja Warrior or whatever, who is a former NFL player, is the one that did say, "Look out," on Twitter. Derrick Henry to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it was at 3 o'clock on Sunday morning. Um, and they have the same. So they have the same agency. So they have the same agency, guys. It's a creative artist agency. Um, and I know that everybody was trying to connect the dots because they share the same agency. Yes, do people talk into the same agency? Creative Artists Agency, CAA, is a massive building and has many different departments. And so, like, while because the guy who reported it who's a former NFL player and is now on the TV side of things, it could have been his entertainment agent, um, not a sports agent, and sports agents are in a different department. So it is that, so you got to keep that in mind. You got to keep that in mind. Um, I I would say it's possible, but the whispers from the different departments are kind of narrow. King says, and not only that, nobody saw AJ Brown coming to the Eagles. So what's ever in the dark always comes to light. Yeah, but you always thought it, didn't you? You always thought like, oh man, that would be phenomenal. It's like, why not try and make that happen? Because AJ and Jalen were practicing together every single offseason since Jalen entered the league, or since they entered the league together. It wasn't just that offseason. It was ever since they entered the league. So, and they were best friends. So it's like, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Everybody had a feeling. I always thought I was like, I think last offseason, even leading up to it, like I was like, that sounds like it would be a good idea. But nah, I still feel like they are gonna take another wide receiver, or they could take Devontae Wyatt. I don't, I gotta go back and look at my previous streams, see what I was saying. But I would love to have Derrick Henry. I would love to have Derrick Henry. Me personally, I would rather take BIJAN. And that's what I think. That's what I think is gonna happen. I think they're gonna try and trade up to like 7 or 8, um, and take Bijan Robinson. That's what I think. And they could trade up to 8 with the Falcons. Talking about toxic Falcons was talking about the Falcons trading back. Um, they could trade up to 8 with the Falcons and then take Bijan Robinson right at the same spot that Christian McCaffrey got taken. That's what they could do. That's what they could do. But no, King, I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. You trade for Derrick Henry, you could possibly trade like a second round pick. You could probably trade like a second round pick to the Titans. And and then also you can draft Jaxson Smith, Njigba at pick 10. And that would be lethal. That would be lethal. So, guys, I think they're going to go offensive playmaker, and that's my point. I think they're going to go offensive playmaker at pick 10, and it even coincides with the fact that like Nick Sirianni did say we're going to have some we're going to have some new packages. We're going to have some new packages. But give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to take a quick break. I have to go grab my charger. Uno momento. Uno momento. All right, we are back. And again, this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you guys so much for joining. It's great being on here talking about the draft. I'm really excited. We're only 2 days away. Really excited, obviously, as I've stated so many times throughout this stream. We're gonna it's gonna be an interesting draft because nobody really knows what's gonna happen. Nobody really knows what's gonna happen. I like let's take the Lions for example at pick number 6. And obviously, as we've stated already, the Lions pick number 6 is one of the rumored picks that the Eagles were trying to trade up for, or are in the process of trying to trade up to. But I personally had Devin Witherspoon being mocked to the Detroit Lions, and I just think that that's the best fit there, and I'll explain why. Devin Witherspoon brings a ferocity and a tenacity, you know, on the defensive side of the football that kind of mirrors the head coach, right? So King says Howie is just full of surprises at the end of the day. Yeah, Howie is full of surprises at the end of the day. He is full of surprise. My big thing that I took away when I listened to his press conference with Nick Sirianni, the pre-draft press conference, with Nick Sirianni is somebody asks him, and I don't remember who, you know, somebody asked him again, like the same question that they ask every year, which is how it's kind of been known that you're not known for taking a linebacker or a safety or a running back this high in the draft. Is there anything that would like change your mind in doing that this season? And then you could tell like he started to get shaky in his voice. Like I pay attention to shit like that. I took speech class and voice class in New York, so like that. So like when I hear stuff like that, when I see stuff like that, like it just kind of it triggers something in me. And so like I noticed that like he started to get shaky, and so like it's like, well, well, I'll say this: we're constantly looking for unique players and yada yada yada. So that's what we're really looking for when we get the opportunity to pick this high in the draft. Yada 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 yada. And so like I thought that was really interesting, and the reason why I thought that was interesting is because it looked like uh they had planned, it looked like they had a plan to be asked about the possibility of drafting Bijan Robinson, and then he had to try and navigate around saying, "Oh, they're definitely looking at," or definitely not saying that they're not gonna, because he didn't want to give his cards away, right? So he doesn't want to say yes and he doesn't want to say no. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I I think it's gonna be Bijan. I think it's gonna be Bijan. That's what I think. And I honestly think that any player, like if they don't grab an offensive playmaker in the first round, yeah, you think it's gonna be Bijan too? It just feels too right. It's like there's an air in the wind, right? It's like the Bijan air, right? It just like too much is pointing towards that direction. Like Bijan is saying a lot about the Philadelphia Eagles, and now they're needing to throw in Derrick Henry smoke screens because like everybody's getting Bijan to say, oh, he wants to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, he's talked to the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, the meeting with the Philadelphia Eagles went great. Yada yada yada. And so like everybody's really excited about the Philadelphia Eagles. King says, I want a running back that can actually show up in the big game. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. And that's the other thing that kind of pisses me off about the Philadelphia media reporters or journalists right now, and podcasters. Um, not the content creators, the Philadelphia media journalists who are now content creators and have their own YouTube channels, like the guys from Birds 365. Some of them are great. Some of them are great. But inside the Birds, Jeff Mosher, Adam Kaplan, Jody Mack, and John McMullen, like those guys just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or they know what they're talking about, but like they're not actually doing their homework. They say that how like I've heard them in their comments about the Eagles possibly taking Bijan Robinson at pick 10, say like compare him to like kind of compare him to Miles Sanders, like and like it's like Bijan is not Miles Sanders. Bijan Robinson is not Miles Sanders. So when you replace Miles Sanders with Bijan Robinson, you are immediately upgrading what you had last year. You are immediately upgrading what you had last year. It is an upgrade. It is an upgrade. It's not the same. It's not the same type of running game. It is an upgrade. It is an upgrade because you can do more with Bijan Robinson. You can go back to running back screens. You can do in routes with the running back. You can split him out in the slot and you can do check downs. Like, can you imagine how much easier that would be for Jalen Hurts to have the running back as a check down, Dallas Goedert running an out route, and then, let's say those guys aren't open, but the linebacker has to cover Bijan Robinson. And then the safety has to, let's say the safety has to cover the other safety or linebacker has to come down and cover Dallas Goedert. Or the safety has to help over the top for Devontae Smith or AJ Brown. It's like then Jalen has an open window to run, right? And if I trust my chances, and I think that's what happened. One of the linebackers has to cover Bijan Robinson, and then the other linebacker has to try and cover Dallas Goedert. The safety's helping the cornerback over the top with Devontae Smith, and so then Jalen has a wide open lane to run. Or you have and what does that create? Well, you also still have AJ Brown and Quez Watkins still on the field, so somebody's going to be left wide open. King says, ever since we let Miles walk, my head said Bijan Robinson. Yeah, agreed. Same. I think and I'll be honest. I'll be honest. Like my initial thought was the Eagles aren't going to go running back that high. But I didn't know what I know now. And what I know now is that Bijan Robinson is that guy. What I know now is that, Bijan Robinson is not only a top 5 running back in a draft class. He's a top 5 player in any draft class. And when you have the ability to take a top 5 player at pick number 10, when you're usually a team that doesn't get to pick that high, you take that guy. You take the guy. It's like that, and I've said this over in streams before. It's like, it's not hard. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're truly going to take best player available, the guy is rated a top 5. The guy's rated a top 5. Take the guy. Take the guy. If there's a top 5 guy left on the board and you're at pick 10, take him. Take him. Do it. Especially if he's an offensive playmaker. Like, building offenses, in my opinion, like, obviously, like, I'm not a coach, but like I'm just saying, like, I think that I think it could be. I think it could be easier than sometimes people make it out to be. You know, go get your guy. Go get your guy. But we will see what happens. It's all going to be very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. Um, King says it's the same thing what the Cowboys did during the 2020 draft. They took CeeDee Lamb at the time was a top 5. Was a top 5 in your opinion? Was a top 5 wide receiver? Um yeah, I mean I remember the Eagles fans were so livid uh that we were so livid that we didn't get CeeDee Lamb. I do remember that. Um and that was the Jalen Rager draft, wasn't it? I think that was the Jalen Rager draft. I think it was. Yeah, because I think that we could have traded up. We could have traded up to grab CeeDee Lamb. We didn't. And then we were a couple picks later or whatever. And we were literally right there. Justin Jefferson was still on the board. And yeah, you could have drafted Justin Jefferson, but you didn't. You didn't. Yep, over Justin Jefferson. Exactly. 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 So here's the thing. My personal opinion is Jackson Smith Njigba is, his comp is he's not comped to Justin Jefferson because Justin Jefferson is more of a physical dude, obviously. But like they're saying a lot of the same things. Like a lot of his stats came out of the slot. A lot of his reps came out of the slot. Well, he could eventually be a boundary guy, which may be true, and maybe he'll turn into one of those guys one day. Me personally, I saw like I'll be honest, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious or anything like that, but like I know what they were saying about Justin Jefferson, where he's only a slot guy, but like I even said it. I was like, this guy's got some size. This guy's 6'1", 6'1", like 2 something. Like he's able to play outside. You'll be able to play him outside. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. And lo and behold, he becomes one of the best wide receivers in the NFL playing on the outside. Um, so my only thing is I don't care. Like as long as we have AJ Brown and as long as we have Devontae Smith on the outsides, I don't care about Jackson Smith Njigba playing on the outside. But then again, I think that he can do it. And I think if the I think the Philadelphia Eagles draft Jackson Smith Njigba or are thinking about drafting Jackson JSN, I think again, like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, they could kind of use him all over the place, and they use AJ Brown in the slot sometimes. They use Devontae in the slot sometimes. They could do the same things with Jackson Smith, and that's the thing. That's the thing. They clearly want to upgrade that slot wide receiver position, and so by bringing in that guy from the Falcons, they want to give Quez competition. But if their guy like Jalen Carter isn't there or BIJAN Robinson isn't there, like, do you just say fuck it? Like, we're gonna bring in JSN, and Quez can still try and battle it out. But I mean, who's more talented? Like, who do you think would win that roster spot? Or who do you think would win the starting number 3 spot? I mean, clearly, it's gonna be. I think it would be JSN. So Quez would be like, and we could keep Quez. That's the great thing is like Quez isn't going anywhere. Quez can calm down. Quez isn't going anywhere. Like we used all four of our wide receivers last year. Zach Pascal got some good reps. So if they draft JSN and JSN wins the starting number 3 spot, like Zach Pascal, like Quez can take over for Zach Pascal. Come in on third downs. No problem. King says Philly 500 said, I don't want Justin Jefferson. He's ass. That backfired quickly. Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about it. Look, I love Philly 500. I love Philly 500, and I won't. Um, I usually don't like I don't talk crap about about Philly 500. Like he's awesome. He keeps it real. Um, I'll disagree with Joey Shakes sometimes. But I like all three of the I like all three of those guys. I like, LB I like. I kind of um I mean, LB I like. I kind of disagree with some of the stuff that he says sometimes, but I like Joey Shakes and I like Philly 500, and so like I enjoy all three of those guys. I enjoy all three of those guys. But watch them just shock everybody and take Brian Branch. That would be great. That would be great. It would be hilarious. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. I do think it's funny though because Howie clearly stated he said it with oomph. Um yes, I said oomph. Um that nobody knows what we're doing. Nobody knows what we're doing. So like, is that more of a comment addressing the media like that was right in front of him, like the Philadelphia media who keeps saying that they're not drafting BIJAN Robinson because they have no idea because the Eagles never do it? Or like is Howie actually going to do something that like nobody sees coming? King says Brian Branch would be nice. Yeah, Brian Branch would be nice. And who do you think that guy would be, honestly? Like I'm trying to think I'm trying to think who that guy would possibly be that the Eagles take that nobody sees coming. And let's just keep the pick where it's at. Let's just keep the pick where just for hypotheticals. Let's keep the pick where it's at pick 10. Who could the Eagles take that nobody sees coming? It could be Jaxson Smith. But I feel like and that's just because we've taken it's been a wide receiver in the first round 4 years in a row now, right? I think 3 years in a row. It would be it would be 4 years in a row. Um, man, I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm trying to think who it could possibly. Maybe it could be Joey Porter Jr. You know, maybe it could be, uh, you know, one of these linebackers. Watch them take Nolan Smith. I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with that. If they take Nolan Smith, I would be very upset. I get it. He's a Georgia guy. They've liked to take Georgia guys lately, but you know, but Buddha is there. I'm trading the pick to Arizona for him. Yeah, but Buddha apparently reportedly wants like, or is that Devin White? I think Devin White wants like 20 million a year at the linebacker spot. That's not happening. Um, I think Buddha would play for less. Honestly, I think Buddha would play for less. But I think they like Justin Evans, man. I think they like Justin Evans, King. and I think they like Terrell Edmonds. Well, I know they like Terrell Edmonds, but I personally don't mind Justin Evans. Would I take Buda Baker? Sure, but like I'm just thinking about the cap hit, and obviously Howie can always make it work the way that Howie makes it work, but like, you know what I mean. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited about the draft, and we have less than 48 hours. 48 hours until draft. Super stoked. Super stoked. But let's keep this thing going. I want to continue and talk about some other prospects. Osiris Torrance, I really like at guard. I think he would be great. I think he would be great. And I wouldn't mind him at 1/3 or at 30. You know what I mean? I would not mind him at 30. But it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. King says, I like that Kool-Aid kid from Bama. Kool-Aid kid? Who's the Kool-Aid kid? Who's the Kool-Aid kid from Bama? Does he walk around with a Kool-Aid dispenser? Is he giving out free Kool-Aid? Is this something that I didn't know about? Because it sounds phenomenal. What flavor? Oh. Oh. Christopher, is it Christopher Smith? No, that's the Georgia safety, right? That's the Georgia safety. Christopher Smith is the Georgia safety. Who's the safety that you're talking about from Alabama? Jair Brown from Penn State is pretty good too. I like. I also like. I also like Sidney Brown out of Illinois. He's really good. Played alongside Devin Witherspoon, so that's good. Um, that would be a good. I think, but I think that's a. See, I don't think they're going to address safety. I don't think they're going to address safety within the first 3 picks. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're okay with their off. I think they're okay with their acquisitions so far this offseason. Um, really, I mentioned a guy with the first name Sydney, and you think Sidney Jones. Horrible, horrible. Just kidding. Um, I actually wouldn't mind Sidney Jones back. Like Sidney Jones went on and he left the Philadelphia Eagles for a few years and like went on to have some okay success. Um, I wouldn't, I would take him as the fourth cornerback. I would take him as the fourth cornerback. Not at safety. Wouldn't put him at safety. Hell no. Hell no. I would rather just have him stay at cornerback. That's where he belongs. I would rather have him just stay on the free agent market. You know, don't come to Philadelphia for your food shopping. Just stay where you are. Just stay where you are. Yeah, the Kool-Aid kid. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. The Kool-Aid kid from Alabama. Why isn't his name uh, I know that there's a safety from Alabama like that could be like a second to third rounder. Um I just don't remember who it is. I don't think they're going to take like a guy. I don't think they're going to take like a guy like Antonio Johnson. Um, like I just don't think that they're looking at big safeties, and he's what like 6'3", 198, 197. It's kind of too big. I mean, they look they look for the safeties. You know, they look for the versatile safeties. And for me, like I wouldn't take a 6'3" safety because like yeah, you want a guy who can move his hips, um, because those are the guys that are usually more versatile anyway. Guys that have better hip movement. Hey now, pause. But it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. Draft again is in for less than 48 hours. Less than 48 hours. I believe that the Eagles, if they can't if they can't trade up and draft Jalen Carter at pick number 3 with the Arizona Cardinals, um, I think they're going to try and trade up to 6 with the Detroit Lions, or 7, or 8 with the Falcons, and it's either going to be Jalen Carter or BIJAN Robinson. King says, "I'm ready, dude. I'm ready too, man. I'm ready too. I am ready. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting." The other thing that I want to talk about too is like I feel like it doesn't feel like we just lost the Super Bowl. You know, Jalen Hurts gets his new contract. How like Jeffrey Lurie was really excited. Howie Roseman is really excited. Everybody's really excited about this offseason. It doesn't feel like we lost. So like I have like they obviously they talk about like, you know, Super Bowl hangover or whatever, and like I don't feel like we're gonna run into any of that. I really don't. I really don't feel like we're gonna run into that. I feel like we're gonna have. I feel like we're gonna have. We're gonna pick up. We're gonna pick up where we left off, and maybe even play better. I don't think the defense is gonna play as good, but they may be more consistent at what they do. They may be more consistent at what they do, and maybe the coverage is a bit. Maybe the coverage is a bit better. Maybe the scheme is a little bit more consistent. I don't know what's gonna happen with the defense, but I think that I do like the Matt Patricia signing. I do like the Matt Patricia signing. I think the Matt Patricia signing um, um, to assist with Sean Desai was a great move. I think that Matt Patricia and Slay getting their shit worked out, and we'll see obviously if it can stay that way. Um, was a great thing because he was a great defensive coordinator. He was Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. Um, so I think it was a great move by Howie Roseman. It was a great move by Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman. But Jean, here we come. King says, no, we come back for that ring for sure. Yeah. 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 I think we got plenty of imagine if Derrick Henry gets traded to the Cowboys though. Dan Sileo said that and it freaked me the fuck out. It freaked me the F out. Um I'm not worried about the Cowboys though. I mean, like it might be a little bit more competitive because now they've got Stephon Gilmore, over there, and you know he'll be able to help out with AJ Brown. But like I don't know. Speaking of making it back to the Super Bowl and our who are possible you know opponent could be in the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's always going to be the Chiefs. The Chiefs are always going to be. But I mean, the Aaron Rodgers trade finally went down to the New York Jets. How do you feel about that, King? How do you feel about that? I mean, the Jets were good last year. You know, they beat the Bills. You know what I mean? They beat the Chiefs, I think. And that was with a mediocre quarterback. Now they've got a future Hall of Fame quarterback. King says Matt Patricia is ass, but I'll give him a shot. He's not ass, dude. He's not ass. No, he's not ass. He was the defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick when they were winning in New England. I mean, he was ass last year because like Bill Belichick pulled an Andy Reid and made the defensive coordinator the offensive coordinator at like just like Andy made Juan Castillo the defensive coordinator that one year, and it just completely bombed. That's why everybody thinks that the Patriots should take a quarterback, and I think that they should still stick out faith with keep faith for Mac Jones because um you gotta like the coaches can fuck things up sometimes. King Miro says they signed Brandon Cooks over D Hop and OBJ. Trust me, I ain't scared of them. Well, OBJ was looking for a bag and he got it from the Ravens, who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Um, and D Hop has a $30 million cap hit. Yeah, D Hop has a $30 million cap hit. The Cardinals completely fucked that contract. I believe it's 30, but it's high. I know that for a fact. I think it is 30 million. So Brandon Cooks was the better. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. Fucking hate the Cowboys, but Brandon Cooks was the better option in that regard. Plus, Brandon Cooks is going to be able to stretch the field. Not saying D Hop can't. D Hop is still great, has great hands, like is still a great receiver. He is getting longer in the tooth, but Brandon Cooks still has his speed. So King says sucks Aaron Rodgers' ass to deal with Zach Wilson. I could see Zach Wilson getting traded, though. I could see Zach Wilson getting traded. I would like to see Zach Wilson traded to the Patriots, actually, now that we're talking about it. I wonder if Bill would do that. Zach Wilson with Bill Belichick. Zach Wilson to the Patriots with Bill Belichick. That could be interesting. That could be interesting. King says that's all I hear from Cowboys fans. We're gonna get D Hop and OBJ. I'm like STFU. Yeah, no, they're not. They got their wide receivers. They're not gonna get D Hop and OBJ. I don't know who's gonna trade for D Hop. I don't know if D Hop gets traded. Honestly. But obviously OBJ is a Raven now. OBJ is a Raven now. But I don't even really care because all I know, we got Jalen Hurts at quarterback. We've rebuilt this team. This team is stronger than the team in 2017. And I mentioned it multiple times over the course of the season. They are stronger than the team in 2017. And we're also in a position to continue to build and get better for the future. And like we are 5 years in the like we have a window. We have a window and it's open and it's a 5-year window. Whereas like where it just looks like we're going to continue to get better and progress every single year. And like that's how things are successfully built. You know what I mean? Like that's how you build for progression, right? So like for like unending progression. I remember after 2017, like I didn't feel like even though we won the Super Bowl in 2017, like I didn't feel good about 2018. I didn't feel good about it. Like I didn't feel good about the fact, like I didn't feel good about like, where we were moving forward. Um Like I loved the Alshon Jeffrey signing. I loved the Alshon Jeffrey signing in 2017. But like, um, I had questions if he was going to be good in 2018. Um, and then like we still had Nelson Aguilar. We weren't surrounding Wentz with weapons and we had an aging Jason Peters. We were in that whole like, is he going to come back? Is he not going to come back? Sort of shindig for a long, long time with Jason Peters, and like Carson Wentz wasn't healthy yet, and so we started off the season when they fall. Like I don't even want to go back there. I'm not even going to go back there. Let's not. I just can't. I just can't. I'm just happy to be where we're at. When where we're at now is like we got AJ Brown for 4 years or 3 more years. We got Devontae. Devontae's going to be eligible to sign a new contract next year, and like, and now we just gave Jalen Hurts like this new contract, and he's a great young quarterback, and he's a strong leader. He's everything you want in a franchise quarterback, and now we're in a position to draft BIJAN Robinson and continue to add to the receiver, or continue to add to the offensive weaponry that we have, and next year we're gonna have a lot of picks because we're gonna have some comp picks and whatnot, but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. King says, I don't know why Cowboys fans are so brain dead. It kills me. Oh yeah, I mean I couldn't tell you. I feel like if I could figure that one out, I would know how to turn people into zombies. And I don't want to do that. Doesn't sound like a fun idea. You know what I mean? So I'm not into that. I'm not into turning people into zombies. That's all you, King. That's all you. You can turn people into zombies, not me. Do 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 do. This is some intermission music. See if there's anything reported recently. Anything reported recently about the Philadelphia Eagles? No, not David Ajobu. Who's the wide receiver out of Ole Miss? Who's the wide receiver out of Ole Miss? That's the guy that I want to talk about, who looks and plays exactly like AJ Brown. King says you're going to stream the draft night. Leave that answer in the comments, by the way. Who's the receiver from Ole Miss? Who's the receiver from Ole Miss that plays like AJ Brown? And I can't remember. He's garnering a lot of steam. He's garnering a lot of steam as of late. I would grab him. Like if we were going to grab a wide receiver in the draft, I wouldn't grab him as high as some are saying he's going to go as high as the second round now. I maybe, but I wouldn't grab him until the third round. Jonathan Mingo. Yes. You are King said, are you going to stream the draft night? I am going to stream the draft night. Yeah. King says Jonathan Mingo. Yes, Jonathan Mingo. That is it. That is it. That is it. I watched his tape. And it made me excited. I like him. I like Jonathan Mingo. I don't know where to place him. Some people have placed him at the end of the first round. He's garnered that much respect lately, and had a great combine as well. And he plays like AJ Brown. Like he literally looks like AJ Brown in his tape. And but he's kind of soft on his route running. That is what I have noticed. I think he would be like late second, early third. King says, I like him too, but I also like Burks, but we got AJ instead. I like Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks did decent for the Titans. He did a decent job. He didn't do a bad job. He did a good job. But yeah, I would totally rather have AJ Brown. AJ Brown is 25 years old. So I'm not complaining. and the other thing too, the only reason why I bring up Jonathan Mingo is because he looks like AJ Brown. That's pretty much it. And could he turn into a player? Would it be a guy that the Eagles can get if he's somebody who fell? Or would it be a guy that the Eagles take if he fell? That's the question. Because, AJ Brown's going to come to the end of his contract at some point. So, but I do think that like they're going to upgrade the slot position though. I do think and I think that they're going to do that within the first 3 picks. That's what I think. And I think that there's something to be said, and nobody else is saying it, or at least I haven't seen it, but I did see today that Zay Flowers, and it was something that was reported like a day ago, but Zay Flowers did, announce that he was going back to school and he was opting out of the NFL draft. And that's kind of a big hit on this wide receiver draft class. It was going to be a first-round pick or potentially a first-round pick. And I think that could be why the Eagles are doing late homework on JSN. I think there could be a connection there. But DK was the guy I would have traded for, and you know that. Yes, I know that. You have a love affair for DK Metcalf, and it will never ever leave my Rolodex of memories about you, King. That I do remember. I do remember that for sure. But DK wasn't available. DK's not going to be available, and so like, he's going to be a mainstay in Seattle for a while. Speaking of Seattle, they picked up Draymond Jones for that defensive line. I think they're going to double down. There were reports saying that they weren't going to take Carter. There were reports saying that they weren't going to take Carter at 5, swirling about today. So I think that that's interesting. But they could go Wilson. I could see Wilson being there for the Seahawks. Or could you imagine like the Seahawks taking BIJAN Robinson? Could you imagine the Seahawks taking BIJAN Robinson? He is a top 5 guy. It only takes one team in the top 5 to fall in love with BIJAN Robinson. And yeah. My question is this though, is like I've also heard that there are reports though that the Seahawks are also interested in Anthony Richardson. And so I think that there's something to be said there. So like if the Colts don't go Anthony Richardson, then maybe the Seahawks go Anthony Richardson. Who knows? But imagine if they took BIJAN. And maybe that's what the Eagles are hearing. And the Eagles are like, no, fuck that. We're going to take BIJAN at 3. Fuck that. King says, yeah, but I love AJ just as much. Yeah, AJ's great. AJ's the best wide receiver we've had since Dio. Hands down. And I wouldn't even put Djax up there. I wouldn't even put Jerry Maclin up there. I wouldn't even put who else is there to put up there? That's pretty much it. Is Djax and Jeremy Maclin. AJ Brown is just better all around wide receiver. Djax ended up being great later in his career, because, or even better in his career because he started to pay more attention to things like, you know, intermediate like his route running ability. Like he developed his ability to run routes. So AJ Brown's the best wide receiver we've had since T.O. Outside of Devontae Smith, obviously. I think that because they play on the same team at the same time doesn't count. Seahawks got a running back already. That's right, they do, don't they? Who do they have? Who do they have? Ugh. They have your mom. They have your mom at running back. That's who they have. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I forgot who the Seahawks have at running back. But I believe you. I believe you. It sounds right. Sounds right. Um all right, well then I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it then. Would the Lions take No, the Lions would the Lions take could the Lions take Bijan Robinson at pick 6? Kenneth Walker. Oh, okay. That's right. I forgot about that. Could the Lions take they let go of Jamal Williams? Nah, Devin Witherspoon just makes too much sense for them, doesn't he? Just makes too much sense. DeAndre Swift. Yeah, they have DeAndre Swift. That's right. That's right. I forgot about it. I forgot. Who's at pick 7? And the only reason why I ask is because the Philadelphia Eagles were rumored to trying to trade up to 6, 7, or 8. I know 6 is the Lions. Can't think of who 7 is. 8 is the Falcons. Oh, that's right. That's right. The Raiders at 7. Okay. The Raiders could trade back. The Raiders. I'm saying that weird. The Raiders, yeah, the Raiders could trade back. How many fucking times are you gonna say Raiders, bro? I don't know. Las Vegas. Jesus Christ. Just caught myself in a little bit of a speech, you know, a thing. You see they could trade back though. Las Vegas could trade back. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say their team name because I've said it. You said it like 6 times in a matter of 5 seconds. Las Vegas is at 7. Okay. I could see them taking Christian Gonzalez. Yeah, I think I actually think I mocked Christian Gonzalez to the fuck it. Raiders. I mocked Christian Gonzalez to the Raiders. Yeah. And that would make sense. That would make sense to me. My question though is that like why would the Eagles want to trade up to 7? because it's the Falcons at 8. It's the Falcons at 8. And they also are rumored to be trying and trading up with the Falcons. And is it because the Bears have heavy interest in BIJAN? Yeah, they have Devin Singletary. In case the Falcons take BIJAN. Yeah, but they're also rumored to be trading up and taking BIJAN. They're also rumored to be trading up to pick 8, though, as well. So there was rumors coming out today that they were trying to trade up to 6, 7, or 8. Why would the Falcons want to trade back with the Philadelphia Eagles if they know that they're going to take BIJAN? King says Bears have a lot of Jalen Carter. I don't know what that means. I think Jalen Carter is going to go in the top 6. Jalen Carter makes it to 6. I think they're going to be taken by Detroit. I think he's going to be taken by Detroit. I don't think Jalen Carter. Like Seattle said that they're not going to take Jalen Carter. Okay, that's fine. But no, I know what you. Yeah. I didn't mean to say like I didn't completely know what you meant, but like, yeah, the Bears want him. I think the Bears. Yeah, no, I think Jalen Carter's going to be gone. By that point though, like I think that yeah, I think Jalen Carter's gonna be gone by 6. I think he's gonna go either 2 or 3. I think that's one scenario. Or he'll go at 6 if it's true that the Seahawks don't want him. But there's also but that's also one report though. It was only around one report that said that the Seahawks aren't interested in Jalen Carter. But maybe they have. Maybe they have completely taken him off their board. But Seattle's also shown that they're not afraid to take players with off the field issues. Like Frank Clark is an example of that. You know what I mean? So maybe the Eagles just don't have a feel, and they've said that multiple times in multiple press conferences. It's like it's hard to know what anybody's going to do. So they're trying to like trade up to 6. They get to 6, they can take BIJAN or they can take Jalen Carter. So I say they find a way to trade up. I say they find a way to trade up. I just don't think Howie wants to part with that second first rounder in the trade up. From 10 to 6 or 10 to 7 or 10 to 8 or 10 to yeah. I don't think he wants to part with that 30 pick. Maybe one of those 2s next year. I think we have 2 2s next year, right? So, you know. But I love it. I love it. I love it. I just want it to be BIJAN King. I just want it to be BIJAN so bad. But all right, that's enough for me tonight. This is DB talking now. I will be back on tomorrow, King. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys joining in. This is DB talking now. DB talking Birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Looking forward to the 2023 NFL draft on Thursday night. All right, peace out, guys. Have a beautiful evening. Stay safe, stay healthy. One love, and go birds, baby.